there. Today I want to talk about the circle of fourths because I say circle of fourths a lot and I'm going to keep saying it. And I want to make sure from now on, every time I say the circle of fourths, it's like, okay, I know what to do, but what is the circle of fourths anyway? And why is it so important? So today I'm going to answer those questions. I'm going to answer, first of all, what is it? The thing is, we could have lots of lessons about this. But I'm just going to give two answers that relate directly to the work we're doing in this playlist. And then for more information about music theory and the circle of fourths and fifths, you can go to the links that I put in the description underneath this video. So one way of answering what is the circle of fourths is, it's the circle of fifths backwards. Now, if you've never seen the circle of fifths, that's not very helpful, but some of you have. So if we were, usually the circle of fifths is shown like this, but if we were to go the other way, that would be the circle of fourths. So if I'm playing a C and I play an F, I just played the 4 of C. And if I go up a fourth, that's going to be a B flat. And if I go up a fourth, it's going to be an E flat, and so on. And if you keep doing that 12 times, then you come all the way back to C. And that's what we've been doing. You've done it a lot of times already. Okay. Why is it so important? Again, there's a lot of reasons why the circle of fourths is important in music. But today, I'm just going to talk about 2 reasons. One reason is that the relationship of 1 to 4 is something that you hear in music a lot. Right now I'm playing a G chord. That's something you'll hear a lot in music. And the reason this relates to 1-4, let's call the G note our 1. We're in the key of G. And this is something new we haven't talked about before. If I'm in the key of G and I build a chord that's built on the G note, well, the G is the 1, for one thing. This is our 1. 1, 2, 3. There's our 3. There's our 4. Now if I build... what did I just do? Oh, if I build a chord on the 4 note, that's the 4 chord. So 1 chord, this is our 1 note. Move up a fourth, play a chord that's built on that note, and that's the 4 chord. That's a real sketchy way of explaining it, but for these lessons, it's okay. We have other lessons about that. And you can really get into the number names of your chords, which is really important. We'll talk about that more in this series too, but it's also in these other lessons that I'm going to put in the description underneath this video. Going from 1 to 4 is a sound that happens so much in music that it's very important for us to train our ears to hear it. And then that's going to make it, that's just going to help you with being able to play by ear. And so that's one reason why the circle of fourths is so important. The other reason we'll talk about more later, because that's like a whole lesson all by itself. But the circle of fourths is, as a guitarist, the circle of fourths is one of your superpowers. There are things... when we compare the guitar to other instruments, say like flute or piano or tuba, there are things that are easier on guitar than on other instruments because, for one thing, the way the guitar is tuned. Remember when we did the circle of fourths on open strings? This 6th string is an E. If I go up a fourth, I have A. If I go up a fourth, I have D. So we have built into our instrument the circle of fourths, just right there in a straight row up until you get to the 2nd string bump. But then once you understand that, that's not a big deal. But to explain why it's a superpower, I think we'll have to do that in another lesson. But I'm just saying that that's why the circle of fourths is important, because as a guitarist, the circle of fourths is one of your superpowers. It enables you to do things that other musicians that play other instruments have to do a lot of memorization or a lot of thinking to figure out. But on guitar, it's right there. It's kind of like, you know, having the chart visible on your instrument. And there's a number of magical things. I'm actually thinking about making the superpower lessons a series, how the circle of fourths is our superpower on guitar. Yeah, so relating it back to the work that we're doing, as we learn each new, I just want to go back to something easy. One of the first things we learned was 1, 2, 1, and then we play it through the circle of fourths. Do the second string bump. And then we go up a fourth again. So we have not just these simple exercises, but for example, recently we learned 1, 1, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 1. Don't forget about that one. And soon we will be playing more melodies. Oh, and by the way, if you already have melodies that you can play on the guitar, and go take a stab at it, you can play any melody you like through the circle of fourths, and that's very good for you. And as you learn the intervals that are in your melody, you'll find that it's easier to remember how to play it. That's one of the secrets to memorizing songs is once you can label the relationships that are happening. It's like, oh, that started with a 1 chord, then it went to the 4 chord. For some reason, that's easier to remember. And if it's like, oh, that one note that sounds so pretty, that's the 6th scale degree. That makes it easier to remember, because otherwise it kind of gives it meaning, and otherwise you're just playing a series of random notes. I mean, in your brain it seems random and it's hard to remember. Was it the 7th fret or was that one on the 9th fret, you know? I think everybody's had that experience of learning a song and then forgetting. But when you understand the song in terms of the intervals that you're playing, and when you understand the chords in terms of the chord structure that you're playing, it's like, well, I know it's on a 4 chord, so it has to be here. That's how I know where it's at, or because you know the root of the chord, or you know it's the 3 of the scale, which is one of the prettiest notes that there is. We'll talk about more about that later, and how to use it, including some improvisation pretty soon. So that's it for today, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.